hi. Let us know that you can hear us. And also, we love to know, I always love to know where folks are tuning in from. And today, of course, our guest is from India. So it's, what, 7:30 there?
Yeah,
right?
it's 7:30 p.m. in the evening. Yeah.
So it's just after 10 a.m. In the U.S. I'm on Eastern time. So I think this is, we had somebody from England about a week ago. And so I think you're our first conversation from India and, from Asia. So I'm so excited that you're here. Manbir Kaur, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to get started in just a moment here. So I'm going to... and we have Haley is watching from the UK. Welcome, Haley. Thank you for watching. Let us know where you're watching from. I love that we're having such an international conversation today. It's going to be really great. So I'm going to go on LinkedIn and just make sure that we are indeed connected and all that good stuff. All right, we are live. Perfect. Cool. Well, as you're watching, as you're listening, if you have any questions for us, let us know. Put it in the chat. I see the chat here, so I'll read off your question. Let us know where you're watching from. Let us know if you like something. That's LinkedIn Live's great for that. So we'd love for this to be an interactive conversation today. So let's get started. Welcome to today's episode of Coffee with Entrepreneurs Live. I'm your host, Maureen Contreras, and today we're here with Manbir Kaur. She's from India. Manbir, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm so glad to be here. Thank you so much, Mary, for having me.
Absolutely. So, first question, and I ask everyone this, how do you take your coffee? And if you don't drink coffee, how do you start your day?
Yeah, so I'm a tea person. So this is what I'm having right now. And I'm very specific about my tea. So I take Indian tea in the morning, which is, I take strong version of Indian tea, very strong, less of milk. And I'm very particular about my tea. So right now, this is the tea just after my early dinner. So I'm having green tea with you.
Nice. Awesome. Well, I'm happy to share a cup of tea with you. And for those of you who are listening, how do you take your coffee or tea? I will say I drink coffee in the morning, but almost every night my housemates and we have tea together. And so I usually drink peppermint tea at night. So right now, though, I'm drinking water. This is a black cherry seltzer.
And what kind of coffee you take?
There's this place near me that makes this really fantastic lavender oat milk latte. And it's the perfect combination because it perks you up and it calms you down. So it's kind of that's my drink of choice lately. So so it's so great to be here with you today. Tell us where you are on your entrepreneurial journey.
So I'm in India, as you said. I'm in northern part of India in a place called Gurgaon. So that's where I am from. So I started my career as a banker. So before entrepreneur, I was a corporate person, started my career in a bank, then moved to technology. So I have been a financial technology person for a long time, and almost 10 years back, so this entrepreneur bug or coaching bug, kind of hit me, and I got certified as a coach, and I started working as an executive and leadership coach in 2010. So I have been practicing as an executive and leadership coach, and I help leaders unleash their potential and align their aspirations to actions, help them have growth mindset conversations, and build collaborative teams. So as an executive and leadership coach, I have been majorly working with technology leaders, technology organizations. That's my niche, actually.
That's great. So you are, talking about mindset, and especially mindset and leadership. What approach do you take with leaders?
Yeah. So I use a lot of neuroscience and positive psychology. So when I talk about mindset of leadership, and specifically, I use positive intelligence. So, which is basically looking at your own saboteurs, because ultimately, positive intelligence believe that we drive from most of the times from 7 8 saboteurs, like a hyperachiever, being restless, victim, hypervigilant, avoider, these kind of saboteurs. So my way of working is so that interaction with leader, coaching with leader, so that they are aware of their own saboteurs, and they convert their saboteur, shift from those saboteurs to their sage mindset, their positive mindset, growth mindset. So that's what my approach is basically. Basic philosophy of my work is aligning that awareness, that insight which they get from coaching to actions. I believe action have a really good impact on the mindset, because when we take baby steps, take baby actions, and see the results, see something moving, so then of course it has a effect on mindset. So it's a loop.
Mm-hmm. That's great. That's great. So you said that your niche is technology. Is that right?
Yeah, technology leaders. Yeah.
Technology leaders. So
Yeah.
what trends are you seeing in technology right now? Like especially now with COVID, and this year has been sort of unprecedented all over the world.
Yeah.
Are you seeing any sort of changes?
Yeah. So I guess I say this time has been kind of a real test for teams, for leadership. It's a real test basically. Teams which were real agile. I'm not talking about the process as agile. I'm saying real agile as behaviors. They are succeeding. They are still functioning properly. So the impact is basically of course now almost all the teams are working remotely. So remote is a big thing, which is changed now, and the things like trust, things like micromanagement, delegation, all those behaviors have gone worsen, because now you can't see your team members daily,
Yeah.
right? So I call it real test of leadership, real test of leadership behavior. So that's how I put it across, that whosoever had created trusting team, had created those agile team, agile behaviors. I think those leaders are really, really doing very well. But yes, overall in technology industry, there is a lot of impact. A lot of my clients are facing, they're really, really overwhelmed, actually speaking, with a lot of pressure from industry. Also, some pay cuts are happening. So those pressures are there, and there's a lot of pressure to synthesize their teams, creating that human connection. Now, now that pressure is also from HR, that you should connect to your team regularly. So that kind of impact is there. People who are not used to create those connections, those kind of humanness, are really, really right now in pain. So they don't know. Somebody, for example, I'm working with somebody who was a micromanager. So he's really, really struggling with, I can't see my team member now. What do I do now? How do I know what's the output? How do I figure it out? I can't see those 10 team members now. So those kind of problems are, of course, up there.
Wow. So this time must be a nightmare for micromanagers. And
Oh yes.
it's such a specific thing, because micromanagers, if they're used to being in the office, they can see exactly like you said, they can see what's
Yeah.
happening. What advice
Yeah.
do you have to somebody who has the problem of micromanaging?
I would say connect to yourself first. Understand, where does this micromanagement come from? What's happening there? So the first step is always is awareness. First of all, be aware of that. And Mary, many of the micromanagers are even not aware. That's where the major worry is. If somebody is not even aware that he or she is micromanager, then what to do?
Yeah.
So that's why awareness is very important, and that creating a feedback loop for awareness works wonders. Informal feedback, take that feedback from your team, go there and ask, how do I come across as a leader, how do I come across as your manager, what's happening? Feel free to say that. Create a trusting safe space where you can get that real feedback, and that can happen only in an informal way. That's the first thing, I have. Create that feedback channel where you can get that feedback. And if you're already aware you are a micromanager, do the introspection. Where is it coming from? What is driving it basically? And work on that. Take small steps. Don't pressurize yourself that you have to shift from micromanagement to somebody opposite only in few days. It doesn't happen. Take those baby small steps. What first step you can take? What action is very close to you? Which is start delegating. But
Yeah.
again, delegation could be a big problem for micromanager. So start delegating that work. See, you can sit with your team and ask them what they can do.
Hmm.
So it's like, communication channel is open. I guess that's the major thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and it sounds like there's a lot of vulnerability involved in that, right? Because
Yeah.
to say to your team, well, how do I come across, right?
Yeah.
Having that awareness is it's not an easy thing to say,
No.
right? Like,
No.
I'm thinking
Yeah.
about saying that to my team and what it would take to actually say like, hey, by the way, how am I coming across? Am I micromanaging you? And
Yeah.
and then in turn the team has to feel safe enough to know that they can say that to you and not have any, you know what I mean? Like that they actually
Yeah.
are in a safe space to say that to you. That's great
Yeah.
advice.
Yeah, but at the same time, Mary, I have a different point of view here. So it's of course a vulnerability. But if you are vulnerable as a leader, you will expect that vulnerability from your team slowly. You will
Yeah.
create that trust. So I guess it's a perspective shift here that what you are creating by doing that. Not only your micromanagement habit is getting changed, you are creating a relationship where it's more than it's. I would say my favorite word is bringing more humanness.
Mhm.
As a human, we are right and wrong, both at the same time. It
Yeah.
could be right. So
Yeah.
that's okay. That's absolutely fine. So I am a big fan of the word human. Bring your humanness every moment, a little more, a little more. I think that's all. I mean, if you're vulnerable, it's human. That's okay.
Yeah. I love that. Bring your humanness to work.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
great. So you recently wrote a book.
yeah.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so this is my second book, which is named as Get Your Next Promotion. So this book, basically, what it does is it is my work with 10 different leaders. So what I've seen is people at mid-level management. So they get stuck. Most of them have really growth aspirations. They really wanted to grow. They really want to achieve something. They want to get engaged more. They want to contribute to the organization more, but they feel stuck. And many of them, when come to coaching sessions, they say, "Oh my God, I want to grow, but there's a lot of politics in my organization. There is, my leader is not good. This is not good." So blaming to the external circumstance, to the external situation, anything. So what this big book does is, so if you are a high potential, so this book gives you 10 different elements of your next promotion. And these 10 different elements are basically explained in the book through a real story, through a story of a leader who has worked on that element, and actually, might have faced different challenges, and those challenges are also, covered in that story. So that's what this book does. This book gives you, those elements which you can work on. And it's not like, it's telling you a straightforward journey towards success. No, I don't believe in that. It gives you universal
Right.
abilities. You may have to choose, what works for you. Out of 10, you may decide to work on 4 abilities at this point of time in your circumstances, and that's fine.
Hmm.
So you grow basically on those 4 elements, or whichever element you want to work on. So that's how this book is designed. So this book is called Get Your Next Promotion.
That's great. That's great. So, what are you seeing right now in terms of, you know, we're in the middle of a global pandemic. Lots of
Hmm.
people are,
Yeah.
certainly there are people that are thriving. There are people who are doing really. But what about the person who maybe wants to go for a promotion now? What advice would you have for somebody?
Yeah. Yeah. So certainly we are not in those thriving times as of now. So the times are harsh, definitely. So we have a lot of problems in business environment right now. Having said that, all these times always meet a road ahead, which is
Mm-hmm.
really, really beautiful, which is really, really full of opportunities. So what I am believing is my suggestion to people who are aspiring for the next promotion is this is the best time to take a deep breath, step back, and reflect on where you are right now. What is your potential? What are your strengths? What can you really encash right now? And what would you like to learn? What would you like to achieve? Kind of a goal setting kind of a thing, looking at, where you are and where do you want to reach, that kind of exercise.
Mm-hmm.
And don't do it for your organization or for any those individual development plans, formal plans. Do it for yourself. Do it for yourself and be accountable for that exercise. Do that and really, really learn what you need to learn. Make that, have those conversation with people. Feedback, my favorite thing. Take right feedback. This is where I want to reach, and what should I do? And create a plan for yourself. This is the best time to do that. And once these times will be over, maybe in few, I don't know, nobody can tell us when these times
Yeah,
are going to be over, but in little better times you will be the best candidate to get that promotion, believe me.
I love that. What are some stories of folks that have had success during this time? What have you seen that's worked for people?
uh, I'll repeat what I said, one word: humanness.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
Mm-hmm.
success story. I have been recently working with the CEO of a large company. So he joined organization before this pandemic, and
Yeah.
this is yeah. So before this pandemic, and I would say not a good time to join another organization, right? New team, everything is
Right.
new, and team has gone virtual, right? Everything has gone virtual right now. Lot of impact is happening on his organization. But what has worked for this leader, and in couple of more cases, is bringing more humanness, being real, being authentic, resilience. I mean, they are different words which are intertwined, actually speaking. So just be real, be authentic. That is something. If something is not happening, have that conversation. Be
Yeah.
human and have that human conversation with your team, with your peers, with anybody basically. Because I think this is the time when people will have real conversation. They'll actually find that connect. They'll be able to connect with their people, with their peers. So humanness is one thing which is not going to go absolute, which is fashionable. I will say always fashionable, and it's actually working right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, one of the teams I was working with, and one of the directors there actually, he had parents staying in different city, and he was really, really worried about that. So I mean, I'm just quoting that example because recently it just happened. He was really worried and was not able to concentrate because he had really old parents staying in different city. He couldn't travel because of lockdown and all that.
Yeah.
But his manager, which was kind of a CEO, CXO level. So he didn't know that. So I kind of motivated him, inspired him that you should discuss this, you should be vulnerable and tell the story. But point of view, he had a point of view that this will not look good. It's personal story. What if it's personal? You are a human being. If
Yeah.
something is happening in your life, you should. If you are feeling bad about it, there's no point feeling bad yourself. Talk to your manager, talk to your leader, talk to your team, whosoever you want to. So so that's what those things help, actually. That's what I'm saying. Humanness, having human conversation, being authentic, being real, it helps. It just helps.
I love that advice. I love that, and we're all of us, I don't care who you
Yeah.
are, we're all having
Yeah.
bad days these days,
Exactly. Yeah.
and being honest about that, I think is valuable. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's wonderful. So where can we pick up your book? Is it on Amazon?
Yes, it's on Amazon.
How can people get in touch with you?
I am on LinkedIn. So in the name of Manbir Kaur, people can reach me there, and I have a website in the name of www.manbirkaur.com. My full name.
Cool. Putting it up here so that you can see it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. This has been really great, and our first like truly international conversation, I think. So, what advice do you have for folks who might be looking for their next job or something like that? What do you think we should all be doing right now if we want to get our next promotion or our next job?
See, one thing is, I guess, making your goals very clear. At the same time, agile also. I'm not saying, being very fixed on that. Have growth mindset, which is very important right now. Growth mindset. Don't get rigid on things. Have your goals, but at the same time, be agile. Have growth mindset. This time is all about growth mindset, and if you operate from that mindset, you will definitely get option. Have clear goals and work towards goals. So one thing which people do is times are bad. Okay, let me work on my resume or that conversation maybe 2 months after now. No, don't do that. Don't procrastinate. Have that focus. Work on that. Goal, and then take actions. And learn from every action, and with growth mindset. The power capsule is having that growth mindset.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. This has been great.
Thank you, Mary, for having me. I'm so happy to be with you.